All right, Julius, we're back another Saturday, the Watchdogs on our Black Media Network. We have a lot of guests here today, and so welcome, welcome, welcome. How's your weekend going, Mr. Hall?
Everything is going great. Everything is going great. Got a bunch of young people here, and with our old selves to tell us what needs to be done to give them control of this country, because evidently we are doing a bad job, and we need to start handing over the baton to them. And they're going to tell us today what their issues are and what we need to do to help them. Salim, your mic is muted.
My bad. I just had muted it.
Okay.
You here though? I'm here. I'm playing chess. My bad. So I'm playing chess on my other tab.
Yeah, you play chess in an hour. All right, Robert.
All right. So if we could get you all to kind of do a brief introduction of who you are, and yeah, we'll just start with that. So we'll go Shante, then Chris, then Celine, then Sabrina.
Hello, I'm Shantae McLaughlin. I'm the host of the show Unjust on our Black Media Network. I'm also a grad student at Morehouse School of Medicine, getting my master's in justice-involved care to write public policy around the healthcare system for correctional institutions. I ran for city council in East Point, and I am a human rights consultant and a mom. And that is it.
All right.
Hey, how everybody doing today? This wonderful Saturday. My name is Chris, aka 2 Benji. I'm an artist. I also work with Our Black Media Network. I'm also a part of Soul Tribe, which is an independent collective, and I also own my own, which is also 2 Benji ENT. And yeah, I'm here to be.
Awesome.
What's up, y'all? My name is Salim. I'm his Julius cousin. I'm Jay's cousin. I'm Chris. I'm Chris uh partner, brother. And I'm an artist, I'm a musician, poet, I'm a real estate wholesaler. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. And like he said, Soul Tribe, I'm a part of Soul Tribe as well. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
All right, Miss Sabrina.
I'm Sabrina Newby. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a political strategist, and I am the Georgia District, 1st Congressional District Director for the Georgia Federation of Democratic Women.
All right, all right. Well, folks, we'll get right into the conversation. And so we understand the outcome from the Tuesday election and the impact that will likely have on our future as a country. So, our first question today, what motivates you and people in your family, people you know? So, what motivates you and people close to you to vote or not to vote?
Anyone? Or should we just start talking?
My bad.
Okay, I'll go. For me, when voting wasn't always a priority for me. Like a lot of young kids, when you first start to get into voting, you look at it as like it's an old people thing. Once I realized that politics and who we vote for affects the way we live, bottom line in it, our economy, politics and business and what you earn is all two sides of one coin, then that's when I got involved. And when I saw our community being in such a state that was not advancing. And we hear people talking about how, this is happening, so many jobs are being created, and the GDP says one thing, but you're actually looking at a community and you see that that community is stagnant. That made me get involved. And I wanted to make sure that it basically paid off for not just myself, but for everyone. And ultimately, I equated voting to freedom in every sense.
Interesting.
For me, I vote simply because our ancestors didn't have the right to vote, and they worked diligently to give us that right. So, as a woman, through the women's suffrage movement, even the Black man had the right to vote before a woman. And so it's really important for our voices to be heard and for us to get out and vote. People literally died for us to have that right and that privilege. And then I have friends who don't vote because they feel like it's they're rigged, like their vote doesn't count, and like it's a white man's race, for better choice of words. And I can see that perspective as well, especially in this last election cycle.
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Chris. My reasoning for why I have recently taken into voting is due to the fact I want to change the narrative surrounded around voting per se. At least I can speak for my generation. The voting and what it is and how it is and it can change was only broadcast to us in one way. And that one way kind of made it seem as if we were more so codependent on the actual voting, but not actually doing the work. So my reasoning for voting was really to change the narrative, and also I put the details with it. I'm 23 years old, but the majority of my age range and a bit younger than mine, they don't really look at voting as if it's something that's beneficial, only because the main spokesman people that speaks for this voting, they don't really speak about the things that they will do as an individual. Is more so what the person that they're voting for will only do. So my main thing is just speaking up and filling in those gaps and filling details, but also making sure I'm playing that part and that role as well every day on a daily basis.
Okay.
Facts, bro. I'm gonna say this first. Like everything that I'm gonna say, like for like the man and the men and the women that's on this call and just anybody that watch, anything that I say, I don't want anybody to take it personal. I want everybody to ask me any questions y'all want to ask me. Everything that I'm saying is coming from reason, it's coming from knowledge, it's coming from logic, and it's also a cult. It's a cult wisdom. It's a cult wisdom. It's spiritual. I'm about to just go straight into it because I feel it on my heart to. You get what I'm saying? And I want to utilize it. But basically, my reasoning for not voting is because I feel that the space and the state we in, just as humanity, beyond just people, but humanity, everything is disordered, everything is inverted, everything is messed up. And I feel that we have to create our own. We have to create our own. We have to have ownership. The reason why we are in these predicaments is because, like bro say, we depend too much on man and not God. That's not what God wants us to do. So with us depending so much on man, like especially black people, we in the worst case scenario, we walking on a tightrope with changing the world because God is like, y'all got to do it. Y'all got to do it. Not them, not them, not them. It's like, y'all got to do it. So it's like being able to find that common ground. Like I don't hold anything against like politics, anything like that. But just to tell you, I was telling like, bro, I don't want to get involved in it just because I know that my perspective is very it's not, people say radical, all these things, but I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man. I'm a young man, but I'm an old soul. So it's like, like I was raised on morals, ethics, principles, and a lot of those things is not in none of the games we playing, from politics to the music industry to just business, education, religion. It's not a plan. It's not an even playing field at all, and they want it to be lopsided. So like for people who see things the way that I do, or who have perspectives that's like in the same realm as mine, I can speak for them. They don't want to vote because they know the truth. And what I mean by the truth, not just the things that they put on the news, but the things that's about to be revealed, that's starting to be revealed, and that's going to be revealed within the next couple of years, and how these people in cahoots with these people tied in with these people over here controlling this over here, and they know these people. You get what I'm saying? It's a mess. So those things are being revealed slowly but surely. So a lot of people that's like think like me beyond my age, they don't participate in voting because of that. And then the people that is my age that's not doing it, they just like on some like surface level, they just like, okay, like this stupid, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with them, they don't have a real necessarily reason. For me, I have an actual reason, and I have evidence and things that I can pull up beyond just videos and books and stuff. Like I have real life situations, I have experiences, I have other people experiences who can testify and say like, okay, you get what I'm saying? Like it's a system. We going against a machine. It's a whole system and machine that's like rigged and set up, and traps over here, booby traps over there, trap over here. So if you figure this out, I got a trap for you right here. So it's like it's all goes back to us being able to come and detach and take ourselves away from the system and create our own system. Even if we have to, they like everybody's saying right now, they stole everything from us and they built everything off of us, our energy and what we know and all these other different things. So it's like beyond just taking that back, we are human beings, and we are also creative individuals, and we are also superconductors. We are God's children. So we have the ability to channel, and we have the ability to bring new things on earth instead of repeating the same cycles and doing things that's outdated. And a lot of these things that we're doing is outdated. It's old. It's outdated. And they taking advantage of that, and they taking advantage of just the people and keeping our people in that same cycle and loophole of the same thing every other year.
Slay. We got you. I brought you on here just so we could hear that. I want everybody to hear what you were thinking. But you do understand that when you see that you all have a problem with the group that percentage that you're saying that you all know what's happening. Okay, what is the solutions? Give us the solutions to how we can help you. We heard all the problems. We heard all the issues. And another thing, you do know that when you get that group together, y'all got to vote, right? Y'all got to vote on who's going to be the boss, on who's going to be the leader. Y'all got to vote. So voting is crucial to everything that you do in your life. So you got to understand that it is a vote. that takes place every time you do anything. Even when you ask your Libby what you want to eat, it's a vote. She gets a vote. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be a part and engage in order to change things. If y'all don't say anything or she don't say nothing, you don't say nothing, where y'all going? Y'all ain't gonna eat nothing. So you got to be able to be engaged, is what I'm saying. But if you, after a while, you can tell us what you think are some things that we can do to help change this, because sitting back won't do it. You know.
Mm.
That's
Facts. You 1,000%. And like like
Beautifully said, brother.
yeah, like to answer your question, like delegations. We got to start delegating. Like we got to start delegating, and like we have too many people in rooms that don't need to be in these rooms. Like Chris to tell you ourselves, like just what experiences we've been having as a collective. Like infiltration is real. Yo, like infiltration is real. I see how our ancestors, they had so much trouble beyond just in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I could see how it was so much division and confusion, even just within the community of whatever organization or movement it was, because of the infiltration. You don't know who's sent by God, and you don't know who's sent by the devil. You get what I'm saying? And the only thing that can really actually expose that is actions. So it's like, I feel like going back to like for example, like how we on this call and only we are on this call. That's how it should be. Like as far as with like you say, voting. I think that with our people, we still are continuing to look on the outside for the solution when the solution is on the inside. It all starts at home. Home is the temple, is the body, is the church. This is home. So it starts in the heart, and being able to work and do and change and do the things that you need to do, that God wants you to do, and just live a fruitful life. And then once we finish with ourselves, and then it goes to the next individual and the next individual. And then that's when slowly but surely we can start to create a new community, our own communities. You get what I'm saying? Instead of us just still like Kanye, like everybody talking about the Jewish people, Jewish. Then everybody saying we the original Jews, the Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that. And those things are factual, but it goes back to like, what are we arguing for? The original Hebrews and the Israelites, it's a real life. But the original Israelites and stuff like that, they were slaves as well. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to like, what are we actually arguing for right now? All these people did was just studied everything that we did, tricked us out of our sovereignty and light, and then came back and reversed everything and used it, and then made us basically like Minister Louis Farrakhan said, basically made us think like them, basically made us act like them, basically made us live like them, so forth and so on. But just on the like system time though, I really do think it's just time for us to create our own system. We have the ability, we have the people, we have the money, we have the resources. Everybody, it's just the actual point of just being driven to do it. It shouldn't have to take so much blood. A lot of blood has been shed behind all these things. A lot of blood.
So it's 7 people on this panel, right? You gotta make it a little bit shorter.
Okay, my bad, bro. My bad, but that's all I gotta say though, right there.
If we could get,
we appreciate
Sabrina,
you.
if you would, I would love to hear your response to that.
Yeah, my bad.
Are you good? You good, brother?
You good, brother?
Yo, you good?
Sabrina, I think you're muted.
You muted.
I want to thank is this Sakim. I want to thank him for just being a young man that's having an interest in politics and having a voice in the struggle. And I appreciate everything that he said. But let me just say this. We are, in regards to politics, I'm a big believer of separation of church and state. I'm a big believer of that because a lot of people seemingly think that, as America was formed, it was formed on Christianity, and that was just not the case. A lot of the founding fathers, if you will, were not Christians. So I'm a big believer in separation of church and state. However, if we're going to specifically talk about a community, I do believe that we have to empower our community to basically know its power and know what they can do within that power. Now, that's going to take a village. And that's going to take a real strategy to make folks understand that. But in regards to politics, I think one of the reasons that the black community has disengaged from voting is because of three words: the Great Migration. Now, you all are pretty much familiar with that. It started in 1900s and it continued, supposedly ended in 1970, but it hasn't, because black folks are still leaving southern states to go to bigger cities or go up north to find better opportunities. That's still happening. And meaning we're leaving our communities to go, it's becoming dilapidated, and a lot of businesses are coming in, and that's how gentrification is starting, and that's how our children don't have a future in the home that they were raised. So we have to bring that back, understand that we have every right to look for better opportunities, but the opportunity is right where we are, and we just have to be able to build on that. And I understand that everybody's not going to have that same mindset, and unfortunately, that's okay. But we have to be able to work together and be able to move together in order to get to where Sakim has, envisions. And I do believe it's going to happen. It may not be in my lifetime, but it may very well be in his.
Thank you, man. My name's Salim too, by the way. It's
Oh, I'm
Salim.
so sorry,
No,
Salim.
you
Okay.
okay? Yeah, you okay? And you right. I don't have any. You right. You right. You know what I'm saying? And like it's very secretive. We got to do everything different this time. Like we can't be out in the open. Like we supposed to. The people need to, but it got to be different this time because they own us. Like I said the last time we was on the call, we are facing a whole different type of enemy that our ancestors didn't even face. You get what I'm saying? They got a glimpse of it, but we are actually facing the enemy because the enemy was preparing for the people like us to come to balance everything out. So it's warfare, and not just physically but spiritually. It's spiritual warfare heavy. So that's how they bring everything and use everything and stuff like that. So that's all.
But I just want to share this with you, Salim. When I was younger, I had this thought. It was a daily thought that I wanted to change the world. And I had mentors early on. And I had this one mentor that I would go to, and I tell him, I said, I am devoted to changing the world. And he said, the only way that you're going to be able to change the world is by changing you. That's it. And that's our issue as a community when it comes down to the political agenda. We are looking at everyone else and holding everyone else accountable. And I'm talking about even people who look like us. And the first step to accountability is by us executing the very same thoughts that we're sharing right now. We have to get up, get mobile, and we have to vote, even though we don't believe in the process, even though the process may be against us, even though some of these, these folks are against us. Do you think the Republican Party all really agree? No, they don't agree. But what they are in line. They are in line with one another and with their thought process. They come up with a plan, one big issue, and they stick behind it. And that's what they wedge through their communities and make those people rally behind them to get those candidates in power, to continuously help them stay in power. That is what we need to do. And how do we do that is the question. That's the question. How do we do that? Who will be the lead on that? How would we formulate a lead? Would you follow that leader? That's the question. Those are the questions, and that's how we move forward. So that's the plan. That's the big issue that we have as a community. We know about Black Wall Street. We know about us from Negroes to Hebrews. We know all that. From Hebrews to Negroes, we know about all of that. But I tell you, what are we going to do about it now is the question. That's the question. That's the big question. How do we move forward? And how do we advance economically? Because when you engage politically, you better yourself economically. So how do we do that?
And You can look at this. Rebecca says sitting out is the same as approving of more of the same. So you not participating, you not engaging. You're saying that it's okay with what they're doing, and if you're
Right.
not actively trying to find a way to get everybody included, not just in your world, not just in your circle, but outside of your circle, because you can't change it by yourself. It's going to take change. It's going to take a whole group of people, and nobody's going to give you anything. You have to take it or demand it. And the only way that you can demand it or take it is by voting, unless you want to get violent.
Uh,
You know,
uh, and like to answer your question, like I said, I'm a simple man. Like I say, I tell my partners this even just music wise, because everybody goes after what's the best way to market yourself, what's the best way to get. And like I tell people all the time, even when people come out with me and they see it in real time, in real life, when we go out and we just do things and we actually go out and spread and just be ourselves and be able to emit that energy and spread that love to the point where people like, dang, y'all really being yourselves. This makes me want to be myself right now. I don't know why I feel compelled to laugh right now, but I feel compelled to laugh right now. I feel compelled to do what. I always say this: conquer the land. We got to take back the land. That's it. That's what I really think is the simplest. Take back the land. And what I mean by take back the land, not just violence, get a gun, get a stick, right? No. What I mean is conquer the land. We got to go back to our ancient times when we were kings and queens, when we were kingdoms, when we were tribes, and we were moving to these different geographical regions and being able to take over this region. You get what I'm saying? Not just by like, that's what they did. That's what they did to us, even over here. That's what I'm saying. So like that's really my like simplest answer is to conquer the land, take back the land. And like how you say like picking a leader, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be one leader. Every time it's one leader, it's easy for them to cut the head off the snake. Everybody was depending on this one person to make this choice or decision or take this action. They just all they got to do is knock them off, get them out of here. Try it again next time. You know what I'm saying? It don't need to just be one. It of course there's gonna be certain ones that can get through certain doors, but like I say, delegation. It need to be like a delegation, like it need to be like a round table, but a round table of chosen people, specific people, precise, not just no like we give too much energy and too much power to false lights. A lot of people who have influence are false lights. They use that against us. They know that. They really work with them. It's the low-hanging fruit. They get us through our desires, money, fame, all that other stuff. So, you know, I conquer the land. We just gotta conquer the land. We gotta take it back to the basics. Play the game.
So when I say a leader, I'm specifically speaking about an elected official. Now, everyone's a leader. All of us, I consider all of us on this call as leaders. But when we're talking about politics, I think that's what we're talking about. I'm not sure. Did the conversation shift? Okay. Yeah. So if we're going to talk about,
it's all tied in though. It's tied in. That's the only reason why I'm not trying to. But it's just
no, it's fine.
It just.
I mean, I understand. I understand your passion as a young man. I get all of that. But what I'm saying is, I got to share the story. Can I share the story? Can I share the story? You know, I was at Savannah State, and an elected official came through, and I think I've shared the story before. An elected official came through, and this young woman, and I don't know her name, but if she only knew that I speak about her often, she stood up and she asked in this room full of cameras and people, and she stood up and she said, "Remember when the Asian hate was happening? Asian hate crimes were happening when it first started to happen, right after the COVID came out. Well, they immediately put some legislation in to protect Asians from Asian hate. And this young Black woman at Savannah State stood up and asked this elected official, she said, how is it that they were able to put legislation together so fast to protect the Asian community from harm? And Black folks have been doing it for, asking this for such a long time, and it's not happened yet. And that elected official said they organized. They organized and they elected people who knew that they would have their best interests in place. That's the key in order to move it. And we as a community, I have learned that relationships, personal relationships, means nothing because I know that there are personal relationships that I have with people that those people would not be looking out for my best interest. So in order to move myself along and my family along and my grandchildren, my great grandchildren along, I get behind and support people who I do believe will have my best interests at heart. And that is the leader that I help elect into office. Now, am I a leader in the community? Yeah, of course I am. But I understand that in order for me to make a difference, I had to change my mental and how I look at it. I have the same thoughts as you. But when it comes down to politics, people are not ready to, they're barely ready to embrace something new. And you have to really work the terrain and know the terrain in order for those people to get behind you. So we have to be able to get good people, not people that we like, not people that we go to church with, not people that we went to third grade with, not because I live next to their mama and them. We got to get people who are capable of moving the needle for the Black community, moving the needle for any underserved community along. And that's how we be able to begin to create the Black Wall Streets again. We be able to go back to our spiritual awareness again as a whole, as a collective. But right now, we are so shattered and we're so fractured. We're all over the place. And we need to understand that we have to start to find and listen to those voices of reason in order to move the needle. Because Celine, I want you within the next 20 years. I may not be here, but I could see you being in an elected office as that elected leader. So this is what we have to do for now. Your knowledge, it infuses me. And my knowledge, I'm hoping to pour into you. So you could take what I say back into your young youth community, and I could take what you say back to mine. And then we move the needle. We build on that. Now the question is, what would be the next steps? How do we build on it? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Chris was about to say something.
Yeah, well, for one, everybody's been saying some phenomenal things for a fact. I wanted to say that it's a few different things, but one thing that I do want to say, things such as like what we're doing right now, bringing these real conversations to the table and not being afraid to have an opposing conflict. Because the one thing that the other side has mastered is both of them can still come together even though one person thinks something else. And it's not viewed as you are lesser than. And I think that's the thing that a lot of us deal with, because even though we can have these conversations with you all and it's open and it's love and dialected, but once we go outside and we go across all these social media platforms, which is something that we all deal with on a daily basis, but mainly our generation, because that's where most of the business takes place, most of the social connection, and the main things that's broadcasted on there. For example, this Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker case. I know I'm not the only one that's been seeing those advertisements, but my niece actually came up to me and she's 6 years old. It's like, hey, why do they keep spreading information about this dude who shot his wife? A 6-year-old able to see that on YouTube, and this is stuff that we just openly broadcast, and it comes off one way. Now we may have different people in our lives that's giving us guidance and giving us different viewpoints. It doesn't have access to those resources and those tools. And anytime we come across people that may not have access, it's always somebody speaking to them as if they're lower than, speaking to them as if they're less than. And I think that's the thing that makes it like, okay, you're not even coming to me as a human being right now. Because even if you may be in more wealth of information or not, we should still just be able to tie in. But if I'm coming in and I'm feeling like you are undermining me, underestimating me, coming to me as low, that's not going to make me want to listen to you all nor come together. We've already dealing with a lot of trust issues and traumatic things that we deal with on a daily basis. But for one, actually coming and having a conversation like this, and I feel like we are playing a part in doing that. You know, Mr. Hall, we got this Our Black Media platform, Shantae, the different things that she's doing. Mr. Brent, I'm sure you're doing a lot of things. Me and Celine, we're doing a lot of things as well, speaking to our generation. Mr. Brian. So it's a lot of stuff that's going on, and we got to shed more light on those people that's actually still doing the change, making an impact. I've seen a lot of times Mr. Hall has took in different kids, got them just actually showing them, hey, I actually see you. The biggest thing that we can do is actually allow somebody to feel felt and heard and seen. That's something a lot of us deal with. A lot of us didn't have a lot of parental guidance at home. A lot of that stuff wasn't in our childhood. So a lot of us is actually looking for that. But once we go outside looking for that, we got everything else that's trying to make us shrink. So just being open to other viewpoints and coming about it a certain way. And that's just my viewpoint on that.
One of the things I'll add to that is, and I think those were excellent points, is one of the things that I've shared this with Julius and Robert before, we got to stop tearing down up and coming leaders. We got to stop tearing them down. I've seen this so much and so often, and, it goes to what Chris said about you speak down to them, you discredit them. And I'm like, why do we do that? And I say we is because I'm talking about the collective and as a collective, but I hate when they talk down about people, or they start whispering in the community about people, because what they're doing is they're discrediting that person before they even know what that person can do for the community. That person may be able to do a lot for the community, but we have to put our personal selfishness aside, because our personal selfishness, it basically harms the community further. And it's not harming just one community, it harms every community within the district, and then it trickles up to the state. And people, I have said this so many times to people, what happens in one county, it's not an isolated issue. What's happening in Savannah, Chatham County, you don't think people know about what's happening in Chatham County in Atlanta? They do, because people talk. And they talk, you can talk disparagingly or you can talk positively. So I think we need to stop hurting young people who are coming up under the auspice of wanting to help the community in any way, whether they're running for office or they're trying to pursue a higher education to take on a better job that could give back to the community. We got to stop harming those young folks that are coming up and speak good on their name. And if someone does try to speak disparagingly against them, because I may have just said I want Celine or Chris to take office in the near future, people will hear that and they'll say, no, he's not a good person. He doesn't know this or he doesn't know that. It doesn't matter to me. It's what I've experienced. And if you've experienced goodness, and if you understand that that person has the capacity to take us to the next level, cheer that person on and stand your ground. That's how we get good leaders in these elected positions.
All right, Robert and Shante ain't say nothing yet, so I know we're going to
listen.
In a minute, but this is real good. This is what people need.
Exactly.
And so Robert and Shante, after the break, I guess we'll hear from y'all too, and what ideas y'all have that we can put and pour into these young people so that we can make a change in this entire country. We'll go to commercial and we'll be right back.
right, so Shantae, it's on us. One of the questions that I think would be really interesting to talk about is around generational issues. And so, what I mean by that is, seniors might find it more intriguing to lean into Social Security as a voting issue of importance, while Chris and Salim or their generation might lean into more of abortion rights and human rights as a priority. What are your thoughts around that? And does that make sense, or does that show up in the voting booth?
So there's a couple of things that I have to say. One, returning to what Miss Sabrina was talking about when she was talking about the Asians and how that impacts us in voting rights now. Um, when you think about voting, it's also a socioeconomic conversation that's missing. And when you think about the Asian hate crime bill that got passed, people forget that the doctors, the engineers, the computer scientists, they are usually Asian because of the theory that Asians are more intellectual when it comes to the sciences. And somewhere in there, there is some truth because of the way that they were educated early on. Now, when you deal with brown and black people, in understanding that we have the same level of education, however, there are a lot of economic disparities that stop us from getting and acquiring those jobs. So when you start looking at how people vote now, in in response to your question, Robert, how
Hmm.
people vote now, it does change based off the generations. Like in your 20s, you're still young and idealistic. You think that you can conquer the world, and that voting may or may not matter because like I've had people say, I don't understand the importance of Juneteenth because there's all of these biracial couples, and they really miss the mark. And so when you look at things like the socioeconomic conversation and equity in wages, and where the wage law needs to be changed so that it's livable wages. What's
Right,
livable in Atlanta and livable in Savannah and livable in Statesboro aren't going to be the same. So changing things to livable wages, changing things so that they stop grouping us like in black communities where we go to work, we work the same jobs, the same amount of hours, but our homes aren't valued as much as if we were in a white community.
right,
So when it comes to topics that impact the conversation I'm in, like I'm in the Roe versus Wade conversation as well, because I also look at the fact that 700 that women incarcerated has gone up by 700% in the last 20 years. So when we start having conversations like that, as it pertains to Roe versus Wade, as it pertains to 1 out of 4 people in Georgia have been incarcerated, when we start looking at real data and statistics and coming up with solutions from the data and the statistics, not our emotions and our feelings, then voting changes. The way that we vote, who we vote for, all of it changes. Because if you look at this past election, Warnock and Stacey Abrams ran some piss poor campaigns. And I don't know if it was because of a conversation that we weren't privy to in rooms that we weren't in. But this runoff between Herschel Walker and Warnock should not be taking place because we have these good old boys, black boys, that they put in office or try to put in office to go against people who actually can make a difference. I believe that Warnock can make a difference in our communities. He's been making a difference, but you put a distraction in place. And people who aren't educated around voting practices, they fall for the distraction. And I'll just say this and then I'll let it go with what Sabrina was talking about when it comes to our elected officials, as far as people saying things like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Lou Rawls. If they couldn't survive controversy, if they couldn't survive gossip, then they wouldn't be where they are. What takes us out at this level will take us out at every level. Biden, Harris, they deal with the same thing of people having a rebuttal to a lot of things that they say, and even having smear campaigns to who they are personally. And so it's like, if we don't own who we are, every part of who we are, our past failures and our past successes, then we're really not being real. And I think there's some level of realness that could come with Warnock having a conversation about he and his ex-wife. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, and when you were talking about that, there's a quote, and I can't remember the exact words, but Dr. King talked about that, in the fact that we are intertwined, and we can understand that, or if I throw a rock at you, Shantae, I'm throwing a rock at myself, and so, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that, and so, speaking to the issue, I think the issues have gone off the table, and it's more about who wins and who loses. And we see this every day in Washington. It's not about compromise. It's not about making sure communities can thrive, or the next person is no longer homeless. It's about, what can I take away? What can I put in my pocket? What can I get more of? And we've got to change that narrative quickly, because I mean, I can remember a day growing up where there was compromise, and a piece of legislation would get passed, and there was a win-win, and we're not there anymore. So, Julius, what's our next question?
Whatever you got on that list.
So I got that loud and clear. So why do you all think there is voter apathy?
I think
Besides Celine.
Huh?
Celine told us why. So we don't need. Celine told us everything. He got that. He told us his issues with everything. But there's the apathy. You can take it first, Sabrina.
Oh,
Oh, where'd she go?
She
She
left
Her
left.
out.
computer might have died. Her computer might have died. Cause she
Yeah.
just her computer might have
Well,
died.
Julius, you're in the field a lot, and you're involved with a number of campaigns and participating in voting activities on voting day. What's your perspective, and what are you hearing?
Well, and this is one of the reasons after you and I talked that we thought that we should have this, because see, one of the problems is Stacey is blaming black men for her not winning. I don't know whether y'all saw that, but she said that black men are the reason that she didn't win. And so I wanted to make sure that we had a young perspective, because I think different. I think they were lackluster campaigns that were ran. I think that she had people in place that didn't know what the hell they were doing. And I also think that it's the younger people who needed to come out to vote. We can change things if they all come out to vote. So I wanted to hear, I knew Celine didn't vote, don't vote. So I want people to hear why. And I know that Chris does vote. And I want to hear people to hear why.
Right.
And I see these kids every day. And I'm with these 18 and 19-year-olds out here that I mentor every day. And they have this 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 thought in their head, that this way of thinking that they're not going to vote unless you make them. So and the establishment is not going to make them vote. They're not going to make them vote. So we have to be able to tell them why they have to vote, show them why they need to vote, because what they're seeing is that people are not advocating for our community. So that's where the apathy comes in at. You got people in office that aren't doing what they're supposed to do for our community. Right here in Savannah, under their nose. It's happening all over the country, though. Not only here in Savannah, it's happening all over the country. So they see this. And the first thing they say is, man, I'm not getting involved in that. And we got to be able to tell them why they should. Because a whole lot of them can change things. Look at this vote in, Nevada now. She was down 130,000
Mm-hmm.
votes. She was down 130,000 votes. Now it's down to 821 after all the votes are coming in. They got 6% more to count and they think that she will overtake that because they're Democratic areas where those votes are coming in from. So we have to be able to say to you all that your vote counts, that y'all vote will count, but you've got to get out and vote. And if you don't think your vote counting, then those people that you are grouping with that don't vote also, get y'all a group. Y'all voices will heard. Once y'all tell the people how y'all feel, and it's a group of y'all, a large group of you, they're gonna be scared. Scared.
They already scared now, and it's not even that many of us. I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to say. They already scared now because they know.
But they don't fear you unless you can do something to them. You can't do nothing to them if you don't have the economic power or if you don't have the voting power. You can't do nothing.
I don't need. I'm about to say I don't. I got God. That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody tiptoeing around that.
Right,
like, and it's not no religion thing. Nothing. It's like I want to say like how you just said what Stacey Abrams said about that. This is what I'm trying to say. It's narratives that they push. So they push these narratives to get everybody to choose and pick a side. Like how she just said, she's blaming the black man. A black woman is blaming the black man for the reason why she's not in position of power. When you said something about Joe Biden and what's the lady named Kamala Harris, that in itself is so much a slap in the face. A quote unquote black lady is the vice president to a white man, and she's married to a white man. You see what I'm saying? It's all psychological. It's all programming. It's all something it's a narrative and a projection that they project on us to make us come and clash with each other. So now the whole narrative with Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion, in the rap world, 21 Savage and this rapper named Drake just dropped the album. They was talking about Megan Thee Stallion, and they basically like, it's like toxic men going against toxic women. It's always a constant battle. It's always a you versus me. Democrats and Republicans, red versus blue, Crips and Bloods. Everything is so intertwined and everything is so in cahoots. The man, demon, the people who created this system, the government, whoever you want to call them, they set everything in place like this. So now when people like me, when people like Chris come up and we say these things, not because of our own research and our real life experiences, we in the field too. It's just not the same. It's like our elders. Y'all are in the field too as well. We're not taking nothing against y'all, but we have a whole other, I got people that look like me I got to worry about. Then I got to turn around. I got tattoos on my face. I got tattoos on my hand. I got to turn around and do business and shake hands with this white man who want to do business with me because he see that I could bring in a lot of energy and whatever. He see, oh, he can make me a lot of money. Let me do some business with him. He don't care about what's on my face. He don't care about how I look. He don't care about none of that because he look at it like he can make me some money. I could work with him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I done had white people tell me the truth. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I always say that because like it's the programming that they programmed in us. It's hard, especially when it comes from people that's younger than us. Like, and it's nothing like I tell my grandfather this. My grandfather's a preacher. I tell him this all the time. You get what I'm saying? Like I was raised in the church. So my granddad was a part of the Nation of Islam. Like I was like around all of these different things to be able to just study and observe it. But it's like nothing won't change unless we have ownership, because that's what God wants us. That's why we on this land. Ownership. It's like we taking demands from other people. That's not God. That's not God. And another thing too, like the concept of God and what everybody just thinks God's is. Like first, going back to like what you said, Miss Sabrina, ourselves, and with what you said, Miss Shantae, about being ourselves and being real. Nobody isn't being like, not nobody, but majority of the people hasn't been being real. Like in politics, in the music industry, and in sports, they haven't been being real. People was able to carry a facade, and that facade got them to these different places. So now the forces, the powers that be, God is causing things to happen to where these people are being exposed, to where these things are being exposed. So the truth is there. Now it's up to what we do with it and what we do with it and take and run with it, like what we do with this information and stuff like that. So like before you left, Julius, I just was talking about like how you said with Stacey Abrams and was saying that about the black man. Like she feels she's having problems because the black man is not supporting her enough. One thing that I noticed when I ride around the city of Savannah, I noticed a lot of white people with Stacey Abrams, like bandit signs and pickets in their yard, and a lot of the bandit signs that be like that they will have that will be in their yard is bandit signs that like promote like gay pride, stuff like that. It be things like that. It's all psychological. We so out of our natural order and element. We have to be centered and get back to center in alignment with that. But it's such a fight to just even be in that, because when you being real and authentic, people who not being real and authentic, they feel triggered. They get mad. They get upset. So they start to cast stones. They start to do things. So it's just like it's a legit battle. It's a legit war. You know what I'm saying? It's a legit war. You have to be strong-hearted, strong-minded, and all these different things. But you can go ahead, Miss Sabrina.
I have a question. Celine, did you vote for Stacey Abrams?
Not at all. Not at all.
Then you what she said was correct. You didn't vote. But wait, listen to me, honey. I just want you to hear me what I'm about to say.
I got you.
We cannot speak about anybody else until we hold ourselves accountable personally. You cannot say what someone else is doing and you are doing the same thing.
I'm not doing the same thing as her, though.
No, I'm talking about in regards to the narrative that you're pushing. Because if she says that your black men didn't vote, you didn't vote for her. So you have to basically say, well, in part, she's right as it applies to me. Because we talk about this everyone on such a magnificent scale. It's not about that. It is what we ourselves in that moment can do to move the narrative. Your mission, it seems to me, that your purpose is to enlighten on the cycle of the black program platform from beginning to end. That seems to me what your mission in life. Well, it's not your entire. I don't know your age, but I have my children are 31, 27, and 29. So I know the conversation because we have it often, but we cannot negate the fact that is, though you see the world your way, currently that is not how the world is operating. And in order for us to move in the direction that we all need to go, we have to be able to infuse what you're saying and understand what you're saying into what we know is happening now. And then we move the needle. I agree with everything that you're saying in regards to we as a collective of Black people, but we are not monolithic. You have to understand that. Even when Black folks were being imported from Africa, all those Africans did not worship the same God. So we are not monolithic.
I know. Trust me, I know.
So my point is, though spirituality is important, how do we as a body move the spirit, and that regardless of where that spirituality is coming from, how do we move it so we can move the needle to economically move us within the social climate? How do we do that?
Okay, I want to tell y'all a story, and I wish Chris was here.
Your stories is kind of long, because we got to get somebody else in. Shantae wanted to say something first. We understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, in response to the Stacey Abrams comment, as well as her not having the Black male vote. So I do a group at Salvation Army, and I have them do mirror work, because I'm a fan of whatever I say about you is what I say about me. And there's a level of responsibility and accountability. So Stacey Abrams may have said, and towards the end of her campaign, she was running on, I'm not going to win unless I get the black male vote. But what was missing was her running a campaign like she ran the campaign before. There weren't any door knocks. There weren't any phone calls. She did not run the same campaign, period. So, in taking responsibility and being fully responsible for what she did or did not do, instead of putting it off on the black man, which is, like Salim says, it is social programming, because it always comes back to the black man didn't do this. The black man didn't do that. The black man, it goes back to slavery. The black man didn't protect me. The black man didn't root for me. It's like we have to stop that narrative. Black men, black women, brown women, we're dealing with enough stuff already instead of the finger being pointed at us for something like that, when the reality is she just did not run a campaign the way that she ran her campaign before.
And
Had
where
she
you
ran
at?
the same kind of campaign,
Tell
the
everybody
results
where
may
you
have been
at.
different.
Tell
I'm
everybody
in
where you
Atlanta,
Tell them
Metro
again.
Atlanta.
You in Atlanta area. So
Yes,
she's in
and I
Atlanta.
voted for Stacey.
We all voted for Stacey. You're in Atlanta. Sabrina's in Liberty County. We're all in Chatham County, and we see this across the state that you ran a bad campaign. It was not anything on the same level as the first campaign. Because had it been, she would have closed that gap. She lost by more than she lost the first time.
And in reality, white women didn't show up for Stacey Abrams. White women, over 72%, did not show up for Stacey Abrams. Over 80% of black men and women voted for Stacey Abrams. So we have to understand, again, bringing it back to us as a collective. How do we move the socioeconomic needle in regards to black people? That is to include politics. That is to include politics. I'm not here to bash Salim in his idea, because I really appreciate these young men. I'm not here to and I'm not going to bash him. I'm not going to bash Stacey. I'm not going to do it. What I am going to do is continue what I have been doing. It is trying to come up with a conclusive idea of how we work together to move us forward. And how do we do that?
One thing,
but see, I don't think that it's just about the socioeconomics of politics. It's also about the public policy of politics, because it's like, in combining the socioeconomics, we have to look at this public policy. We have to look at the fact that, why is it that in the Census Bureau, we're including prisoners, but they can't vote? Why is it that people who just came out of incarceration in the state of Georgia, it's about 155,000 people on parole, but we have Warnock losing with such a small mark, or not losing, but the runoff because of such a small margin? Why are these numbers in existence? And that impacts public policy, which then impacts socioeconomics. Because once we start changing that, we change the narrative on socioeconomics.
That's true.
I want to say this too, that we're not bashing Stacey, but in order for you to correct something, you have to tell them what the issues are. You have to tell them what the problems are and what you saw that was wrong. It might seem like bashing. I voted for her, but I also know we all saw what kind of campaigns was ran.
Correct.
On both sides. They had the money to do it. Now, those down ballot candidates didn't have the money to do it. Right. Now, and take what Dr. Tanya Howard Hall said. She connected with the city's cliques and not the entire community.
Yes.
One, it's a model that everybody got to use throughout this whole state. And that is the Derek Milo model. It's about winning. He don't care whether I got a problem with that guy. He want both of us on his team. He don't care whether I got a problem with that guy and that guy. He want all three of us on his team. It's about getting the job done. See, but when you come here and you listen to people who tell you don't go to that guy and don't bother that guy, then you're not going to get your full potential from what you're looking for. You're not going to get your desired outcome. So, You die by it. When you fall on the blade, you die by it. And that's what this
And
is.
I just saw a statement where someone says it's time to separate politics from economics. You can't. Politics and economics are two sides of the same coins, of the same coin. You cannot. And once you start, and once we can get the Black community to understand that if you want to eat better, you want to buy better, you want to live better, then you need to vote for someone that has your best interest so you can do those things. This is what I mean about, for a very long time. And let me go back because, I didn't give a very good introduction to myself because I'm not comfortable with talking about myself. But I am very comfortable talking about politics and economics. So, 8 years ago, I started a thing called the Liberty County Minority Chamber of Commerce. And I basically started that chamber basically on the idea of that Black folks who were in business needed to improve their business mindset. Because I was a successful business owner, I felt like I could give something back to the community. But it was pushed back. They didn't want that. They didn't want that. They didn't need that. So what I had to understand is, why was they pushing back? Because I could teach you how to brand and market yourself or whatnot, but is that putting food on your table? I mean, I can do that because there's so many levels of marketing. I can do that, but is that putting food on your table? Or should I be teaching you how to empower yourself economically? Because that's the freedom that you're really looking for. You don't need permission to go to a club, to socialize, to network, but you do need accesses to live independently. You do. So within 1 year, I became a entire regional chamber. In 8 years, that chamber went into 86 counties. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm also going to school for my doctorate in public administration. So I'm writing policy. I'm helping the community. I understand that in order for us to build and grow, we can't do anything without policy. If I'm an elected official, if you came to me and you asked me and say, hey, my road on my street is, I'm getting a lot of debris in my yard from this broken road in my street. Can you fix it? Well, I could say, yeah, but there's got to be some sort of policy, ordinance, legislation behind it in order to get you that thing. But I could also be that politician that's been elected because we don't want to engage in the conversation of politics and economics, that don't care, and say, I'm not doing anything for you. Yeah, I'm elected, but I don't care about your neighborhood. I don't care about you people. And you've heard people reference us as you people before with Donald Trump and some of these current Republicans that are being elected currently. So we have to start thinking in a way that is going to grow us. If we're going to talk about growth, we can't talk about growth. You're right, Shante, without policy. If we're going to talk about growth, you're right, we can't do it until we get our minds right, Celine. And if we're going to talk about growth, we can't do it unless we talk about economics, because they're all intertwined. And you're right, Julius. If we're going to talk about getting people in office, we can no longer afford to run exclusive campaigns. We have to talk to the people. I'm talking about there cannot be no dissension between the two of us. If I don't like you, it's okay. I'm going to put it aside because the job is to get Robert elected. That's the job. Because I know Robert has my best interest policy-wise, economically, and socially in place in his heart. And that's why he wants to see. We need better decision making. We need better candidates. And we need to understand what politics is. It's not just about casting a vote. It's about your entire life. That's what it is. So I'm sorry. I just get a little bit passionate because I've been teaching this for 8 years. And for the first time in a long time, we've started to get our community to talk about economic development. Because I walked in those rooms where there are uh, people that don't look like me. And if I ask them, what does economic development mean to you? They tell me building. They tell me real estate. But when I ask people who look like me, what is economic development? Man, I'm just trying to put food on my table.
That and,
That's what it's about.
Miss Sabrina, I promise you, me and my girlfriend just left Long County to do a meeting, to have a real estate meeting. You know what I'm saying? To sell properties. Like, that's what I mean by taking over the land. Like what you just said, exactly what you just said. And like, I also too want to commend just you and your journey and just everything about you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
say like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a very powerful woman. And like going back to, like I say, what Stacey Abrams said, like about that, like things like that can cause confusion because a powerful woman like you, I don't know you at all, and I don't know your personal life at all. But a powerful woman like you needs a powerful man beside you to protect you and guide you. And that's like, Julius to tell you, he know the black family separating it, ripping it
I
apart.
just brought all of y'all into my family because Julius protects me, Robert protects me, my husband protects me. I hope Shantae will continue to protect me because I'm going to encourage y'all and protect y'all. That's what we do. That's what we
Yes.
do.
Yes, vice versa.
And this is what we're trying to pour into you because, see, we don't want you operating where it's going to take you 50 years to change something when we can do it together. If you're operating on the one side by yourself instead of operating with us as a group so we can create a well-oiled machine, that machine needs to be ran so that we can understand that it's about change for all of us. That's why I keep telling y'all, it's the Derek Milo motto. Use it. The man didn't care whether you like each other or not. It was about one thing, getting to the finish line. He put all the people together to get to where he needed to go. And everybody needs to do that. The last thing that anybody in Stacy's camp and Warnock's camp should have done when they left here was ask those important questions. Who do I need to see that isn't here now? That's what they should have asked everybody. Who do I need to see? Who do I need to contact or email or call? That's what they should have asked everybody that was there, because every time they came here, they were preaching to the same people. You didn't get tired of seeing these people? Someone should have clicked in their head and said, I need the same people I've been in the last 6 times for. Who do I need to see out besides y'all? Y'all already voting for me. Where these young people at? I need to get those ones that need to vote. Give me a gym. Somebody should have had the Civic Center full of every Sunday with all the preachers, with all their congregations there, going out to get everybody in. It's a different way of campaigning. Get rid of them old people. I ain't gonna call their name. Get rid of those old people that still in there trying to tell y'all how to run a 1950 campaign in 2022. You can't do it.
And Julius, I thought about that too. I'm wondering if it was more about the money than it was about making those connections. Because, a lot of times we'll see, these politicians get in the room with these same people because they're going to drop 20 grand, 1,500, whatever. And that may have gotten in the way of really connecting with people who can't do that. So I get it, but it's not a great strategy.
They was doing shows like rappers. Stacey Abrams, she was popping like a rapper. Right. You see what I'm saying? And even like literally, like it was an event that was here like last month. My girlfriend, she performed at it, and a bunch of artists in Savannah, like basically like what she was doing all throughout the country, meeting up with all these different rappers and stuff, Lil Babies and all this other stuff. Basically, it was a whole event like curated like for her campaign. And one of the dudes, like I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm not privy as far as with the names, everybody that's running and what's going on. But one of the dudes that was running, he was a white guy. He was there. I think he's a white guy. I think he's a Democrat. I don't know his name, but he was there though. He was the only politician that showed up. But like she didn't show up at all. And probably like a couple days later, my mom showed me a picture. She was at the Longshoreman Hall, like the same, like not if not the same week, the next week. So it's like things like that, like people like getting people in a large setting, getting a large group of people in a setting is powerful. It's actually a ritual. It's powerful. So when you have everybody here for you and you got signs with your name on it, people with your name on these shirts, and people coming and performing music, which is one of the most powerful frequencies, one of the most controlling frequencies on this planet, that's and you not there, that says a lot. It says really a lot. And I'm pretty sure she's an extremely busy, productive woman. I'm pretty sure. But it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. The details, the devil is in the details. People actions, like having that discernment. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, I wish Chris was on this call, he could vouch. Like we just had a serious moment. And if I tell you about it, Julius, you would get mad because it was involved not only with me, but with my girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? Your girl, you know what I'm saying? Your daughter. So it was a moment though where the enemy was literally attacking us from every way. And it was a moment where we had to control, where the spiritual actually became physical, even to the point that when the police came, when the police seen it, they couldn't even stomach what was going on. And it was a simple like not domestic violence. It wasn't nothing with me and my girlfriend. But long story short, this guy that we considered a brother he'd attacked me, but then he tried to turn around and attack my girlfriend. And he was possessed. He literally was speaking in tongues and calling out for Satan. You get what I'm saying? We had to hold this man down for 15 minutes. I'm choking him. Like I'm like, bro, I will kill you. I could literally kill you with my bare hands. You get what I'm saying? Don't you ever disrespect not just my woman, this energy, this essence. And that energy that was inside of him, that demonic spirit that was inside of him was so low. It was beyond low. I was looking him in his eyes and seeing black. I didn't see anything. I seen black. And literally, like, even when the police came, they knew what it was. They felt it. And it took for my passion for them to actually feel it. It was irritating them that I was so passionate about what was going on. From the black police officers to the white police officer. Literally, the white police officer, you could tell he's the head one in charge, the white man. He's like, after I'm talking, he wouldn't look me in the eyes at all. He just walking, pacing back and forth. He finally looks up. Well, what do you want us to do? I'm like, what you mean? I'm like, get him out of here. What do you mean? What I want y'all to do? We shouldn't be doing y'all job. Me and my brother, like we shouldn't be doing y'all job right now. What do you mean? What I want you to do? The black guy, he literally just staring at me. He don't know what to say, what to do, because they feel like that was the source. That was the origin of everything, of good and evil, light and dark, the original man, the black man, and the black woman, and that energy attacking it literally. And it was so powerful. And in that moment, we stood our ground and we passed that test. But the reason why I bring up that story is because going back to Stacey Abrams and just that statement, is so much going on in the world, and just that separating the black man and the black woman when we need each other, when we're supposed to be with each other. So,
and this is why
we
need young people like you all on shows. See, we didn't have this 4 or 5 years ago the way that we have it now. This just isn't happening just in Savannah or Chatham County or in this region. It's everywhere. But y'all voices can be heard everywhere. You're silencing your voices when you fail to tell everybody what you're feeling. Nobody hear you. It's like a tree falling in the forest and nobody's there to hear it fall. Does it make noise? So you have to be able to come out and tell those stories, even though when I try to get you to cut it off because you're going to a different story. But there were two other things. There was another person that also, Robert, that did the Derek Milo model, and that was Sonia Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Sonia Jackson didn't care whether the people she had working for her liked each other. All she wanted you to do was do the work. You know, you got to be able to touch all the bases when you're talking about whether you want the collective to be a collection of votes for you. It can't be if you're not talking to everybody. You got to talk to everybody. Those who like you and those who don't like you. There were more commercials on all those people they showed those commercials to, where they spent hundreds of millions of dollars for, didn't even vote for them. Didn't even vote for them. They could have came into the black community and had us to get these people out with that money. You know, they paid everybody who does this type of work to do the right work to get the vote out. But they were on the TV all day, every day, ad nauseum. I got sick of seeing it because I knew it was worthless advertisement. When you could have went and put it on the ground in the communities and did something to get the vote out. You know, she lost about 300,000 votes. All she needed was 160,000 of those. 160,000 of those votes, she win. Just take half of them from it.
Yeah.
She win. But the thing is, they didn't even, when they came here, neither one of them came to the Chatham County Democratic Committee. Now, Sabrina, I'm not bashing them. I'm telling them what they did wrong so they can get it right.
And I want to say,
losing the governor's race. I'm tired of losing in races that I know we should win. All these people that get in these cliques, damn a clique. Get with people that gonna get you where you need to go. If they can't give you the desired outcome you're looking for, you don't need to be around them. Those people who are at those rallies don't bring nobody with them. Just them. They didn't advertise it. They didn't spray it on their pages to come out. You brought Spike Lee and what the other woman's name was? Lynn Whitfield. Mm-hmm. Lynn Whitfield should have been out to Georgia Southern, and Spike Lee should have been out to Georgia Savannah State. They all shouldn't have been on the same bus.
Yeah. And I just want to say this just for y'all, just
marketing. I do it because I'm forward thinking. I don't know what they doing.
What's that?
I just want to say this just for y'all, because like y'all are in the politics field, and especially just in Savannah. Savannah is important. They know this. This is why they come here. This is why they do certain things here. They know how important this land is. And in Georgia period, Atlanta especially, but Savannah as well. Savannah is like the origin. They know that. That's why they go so hard with Savannah, about Savannah, and all those things. You get what I'm saying? So like, I just want to say, with y'all being the politicians of Savannah and just this whole area, Chatham County, Liberty County, Southeast Georgia, period, like y'all are next. Y'all are really next. They don't want their spots to be taken by people like y'all. That's why they moving the way that they moving. That's why they do. It's like high school. Everybody in high school again. It's like high school. It's like, I'm gonna hang with the popular kids over here, or I'm gonna hang with, you know what I'm saying? Even though they share the same class as y'all, they just seen that you just did a class project with these group of people over here, and y'all got an A. You get what I'm saying? They know they need to be with y'all, know they need to be studying with y'all, but they're ready to say, you know what? No, because they not the idea, or they not whatever. So like, just for like y'all, like Julius, you Miss Sabrina, you Miss Shanti, you Mr. Bryant, like just with y'all position, like y'all play a pivotal part. They don't want y'all voices to be heard because y'all are really organic. Y'all are in the field. Y'all are doing the tedious things that they not doing. You see what I'm saying? And y'all connected to individuals and beings like me and Chris. They not connected to people like us. They don't want to be connected to people like us. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't want to hear me say all this stuff. They don't. I already know this. That's why I moved the way that I moved. That's why I am the way that I am. I have a whole mission. But I have to move accordingly to, and I'm gonna make sure that I do. But
we cannot focus on they, because we know what the game is, we know what the clicks are, we know whatever. You say we're up next, well, and what my focus is getting where we need to go so you can be up next. That's
Right.
how we need to operate. I don't think I for a very long time when I was younger, I used to focus on what people thought, and that was not my purpose. I don't care what people think. My thing is to do what you know is what you've been called to do. And in regards to the me just going on and saying that we're bashing, I'm not saying that y'all cannot say whatever you want to say about Stacey, how she ran the campaign. But I said, for me, I will not talk about her as a woman, as a black woman, because yes, it wasn't Stacey, though it was her campaign. She still had machines in places that she wasn't really familiar with, and those machines were breaking down. So if you can't move, and she may not have been aware of that, but still, I understand Stacey Abrams is Stacey Abrams, and she was the head of that company. I get that. But we know she lost. She didn't. There were things that they didn't do for the people, of the people who they were that were in place to do a job. They could not. They did not have the reach. They
That's
didn't.
true. That's true. And what we're doing is trying to correct that. We're not bashing Stacy. We're just trying to
Right.
give her some corrective actions that need to be taken. You got a model that
Right.
you need to follow. That model is Derek Milo, and that model is Sonia Jackson. You got people that are the power brokers in each city, not just people like us. Uh, Shantae, you in Atlanta. Did anybody reach out to you with your connections there? Chris is in Atlanta. Did anybody reach out to Chris with his connections there? We're here in Sabrina. You in Liberty County. They know about us. They know about us, but they are told not to deal with us. But we are the change agent, and they're gonna have to get along with that. We're gonna do part two of this next week.
Sounds
Um,
good.
and hopefully we'll have some more young people on here to tell us their perspectives. If you are young, if you want to be on next Saturday, we invite you to give us a call so that we can hear your perspectives. We want everybody to be heard. We want to try to change uh, the playing field to level it off where everybody is included. We don't want the bougie people to just be involved, and that's what happens a whole lot of the time. Young people don't feel like they can go into those rooms because when they walk in, the bougie ones look at them like, "Who are they?" Well, no. Everybody needs to be in these rooms. Everybody needs to be here. That's why he's operating outside of what we're doing. We need to bring him in. Hopefully he sees this. Hopefully Salim understands that we're all in the same boat.
I know.
Some people feeling hopeless.
Found a different way, cuz. I found a different way, cuz. And it's so crazy. Listen, it's so crazy. I be hearing all the different stories about you and stuff. When you listen, you don't even know how much I'm doing the same thing you was doing beforehand, but I'm just a little cooler with it. Just a little cooler with it. You know what I'm saying? It just looked different. It just looked different. It looks a little different.
And
That's all.
Julius, I just wanted to say to Celine real quick. We have more open seats than we do people running for office. So although you may not be a voter, we have to fill these seats with people who have the passion, who have the vision, who have the focus that you and a lot of the young people have. So you got to get involved. Even if you ain't turning out the vote, you got to get involved.
Okay,
'Cause there's
I
more
got you.
open
I got you.
seats.
I got you. I got you, Miss Shanti. Yes, I got you. I got you. I got you. Thank y'all. Thank you, Miss Sabrina. Thank you, Miss Sabrina. Thank you, Miss Shanti. Thank you, cuz. Thank
And
you,
next
Mr.
time,
Brian.
Thank
yeah,
you.
next time they debate, what they need to do is get people in the room who can help them, because uh, and ask those people to bring one person that isn't voting, that is thinking
Right.
about not voting. It's all kind of things. They think in 1950 still. They had a debate. Herschel Walker and Warnock had a debate, and who they had there? Not They didn't invite nobody that can help them. No elected officials. They invited their friends. Their friends didn't bring anybody. You know,
But
it's
some of them
crazy.
I
funny
brought
acting,
people.
Julius, when the cameras ain't rolling, because I know I had the president of the NFL Retired Players Association invite me out to meet Warnock, and he wouldn't even shake my hand. But Ossoff was willing to take pictures with me. So if we talk about the black and white conversation, you know,
Ain't that
and
something?
then Abrams, I was invited to an event 2 hours before the event started. So I wasn't
Yeah,
going to that. Like,
yeah, it's high security. What you saying, Sabrina? Before we go,
I said I was involved and I did bring people, but I can tell you this: when people who are in position, I don't know why we do this, but we listen to them. And I'm not saying that they're all wrong, but sometimes I think when we listen to people who are telling us to be divided and continue to stay divided, we need to question why they're telling us to stay divided in the positions that they hold.
yeah,
So
and I just want to let the world know that if they invited you, you part of that clique too.
yeah, you
Can't
part
wait to get that in.
I am not
We're waiting
clicky.
all day to get that part in.
I am not
Please,
clicky.
she part of that clique, Celine. We gotta get her. We gotta.
I'm not clicky. Y'all know me. Y'all know me.
And we appreciate all y'all.
Thank
Robert,
y'all. Love y'all. Y'all have a great day too. Y'all have
all
a
right,
great day.
we'll be getting back in touch
Peace,
with you.
love.
And I'm gonna look over the solar panels too. We gonna look over the solar panels. Me and Libby gonna look over the solar
Talk
panels.
about that in a few minutes. Give me a call.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There.
All right, y'all.
Don't forget 6 o'clock. Pastor Smalls with Tell It Like It Is. You got it, Robert, or you want me?
I got you. Here we go.
I like that.